What is up, YouTube? It is Joker777 here, and I'm back with yet another review for you guys. This is the third episode of The Walking Dead, and this week, unfortunately, not a whole lot happened. And if you're a viewer of The Walking Dead, if you've been a long-time viewer and you maybe missed this one, I'm here to tell you, don't worry, not a whole lot was done in this episode. There is kind of a big reveal at the end, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But basically what this entire episode was about, this entire episode was basically come down to, are you sick or are you not? And if you're sick, then you're basically put into quarantine. You're put into this little room with all the other sick people. Because as everyone knows, that's the greatest cure for a bacterial infection. You put other people who are infected in there with you, and you put them into basically this incubator where you're not allowed to do anything, because that's the greatest cure for a bacterial infection. And basically, if you don't have the sickness and you're good to go, then you can basically walk around and have all the freedoms of life. So that's really what it was about. There wasn't a whole lot going on this episode, other than there was a fight between Rick and Tyrese in the beginning. And to be honest, I kind of missed the first part of that fight. I think it was because Tyrese really wants something done to figure out the murders of the two people, including this woman that he's kind of fallen for named Karen. And Rick is basically like taking his time with it. He's wanting to do a full investigation of it. He's wanting to get the story straight. Whereas Tyrese, he wants to know who it is now, so that way he can, get at him. And like I said, there's not, too much going on with this episode. It was one of the more slower episodes, which can actually be somewhat of a good thing if you think about it, because if you're just doing, fast-paced after fast-paced after fast-paced after fast-paced episode, there really isn't a whole lot of, storytelling to be done. There isn't a whole lot of character development to get done. In which character development, really at this point, there really isn't need for any in The Walking Dead. We basically know everything there is to know about the characters. Forget the new ones, because pretty much at this point in the show, if you didn't come in the first season or the second season, you're dead. And even if you came in at the first season, you're dead. So it doesn't really matter about these new people. Like I said, I think they're all going to go away eventually. I could be wrong. I don't see really any of them sticking around for long, just because that seems to be a thing with The Walking Dead. If there's anybody new, they're going to kill them off. The one thing I think that they did wrong with this episode, and here's kind of the big spoiler, this is the thing that happens at the end. They reveal who the killer is that burned the bodies, and it's Carol. Now, I don't think they should have revealed who killed Karen and the other person and burned the bodies just yet. Number one is because this is the first time we've had a murder within the group. And it's actually something that could maybe drive this story a little bit further, because now we have a murder mystery on our hands. We don't know who's done it. Well, now you basically just taken all the surprise out of it, and now you have nothing to go off of. Now you have just this sickness story, which if you don't do it right, it'll get kind of old really, really fast. They do open up a kind of a new thing now, where now since Rick knows, what is he going to do? Is he going to call her out on it? Is he going to keep it hidden from people just because it's Carol? I don't know what they're going to do. So it'll be interesting to see what Rick does. I think, in all honesty, this is my prediction, I think he's going to keep it in until the very end of this season, or maybe even as early as, or even as late as, next season. I don't think he's going to come out right away and tell him, just because I believe that if he tells, we're going to get back to Tyrese, and Tyrese will end up killing her, and I know that Rick doesn't want any more bloodshed in his group, but I'm curious to see now as to, will Carol continue doing it, because if she knows Rick's not going to tell anyone, then why not just keep doing it? But like I said, I don't know where they're going to go with it. I just think they shouldn't have revealed who it was just yet. I felt they should have kept it going. We could have had a cool murder mystery and all, so that's one thing. Another thing, I believe that Beth is going to have somewhat of a big breakdown, because she's talking to Maggie, because Maggie's basically getting upset because Glenn actually has the sickness, and he's inside this quarantine zone. And she's very upset, and Beth almost looks like she's about to start crying because she feels Maggie's pain, because if you remember, she lost Zach the very first episode, who was kind of like her boyfriend, I guess it was. I don't really know, because I didn't really explain that. I didn't really explain if they were dating or if they were just, friends with benefits or something like that. But she almost actually starts breaking down crying, and I think that because she's been holding it in, trying to be strong for too long, I think that Beth is going to have some kind of breakdown. at some point this season. I'm not too sure when it's going to come, but that's just another prediction of mine. Another thing, and I called this basically in my last review, I think that Carl is still a little bit too trigger happy. If you notice, like, he didn't shoot anything, I'll give him that, but if you notice, when Herschel was basically trying to go out to the woods to get the supplies to make this herbal tea with that'll help lower the fever of the infection and all, Carl basically has like his hands like at his side, but he doesn't have, like, you know how most people, like, whenever they do it, their hands kind of hold like this, that's just limp at their side. Well, Carl has his in a ready to go like draw stage, kind of like that, where his hand is like ready to draw, and I think that's preluding to something. Because, I mean, what's Herschel gonna do? I mean, he's this old man, he's a one-legged old man. If you want to stop Herschel, just kick out his bad leg from underneath him and he goes falling. I know it's a little horrible and all, but I mean, really, why does Carl need to reach for his gun like that when he knows it's Herschel? Like, once again, I just think Carl's a little bit too trigger happy. I don't think he's ready to have that gun back. But we'll see where it goes. I know he didn't shoot anything last night, like I said. I do believe that he's going to end up shooting something or somebody, but we'll have to find out. We also didn't figure out who's feeding the walkers yet, even though I still think it's Lizzie, but whoa, that camera just got really blurry. Come on. And, well, there we go. Yes, haha. So, we still don't know who's feeding the walkers. I still think it's Lizzie, but I'm guessing they're going to review that maybe later on. We're going to have to find out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else important that needs discussing. I'm not too sure. The only other thing I thought that was pretty cool, which was the fight at the end, Tyrese with a hammer, that's awesome. Like, you know, Daryl with a crossbow, that's cool, but Tyrese with that hammer, man, whew, invincible. Now, I'm kind of curious to see, because if at the end of the episode he was basically running back towards the group, he survived that basically big giant onslaught of enemies where they were all surrounding him with just a ball-peen hammer. But he had blood on him, so I don't know if that's the walker's blood or if that's his blood. Maybe one of them bit him. I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure we'll get some answers next episode. But like I said, it was kind of a slow episode. Not a whole lot was done. If I had to give like a grade for it, it would probably be like either a B- or a C+. It was kind of a weaker episode. Like I said, it was kind of slow. Not a whole lot was going on. And I also feel they should not have revealed, you know, who murdered, who burned the bodies. I think they did it way too fast. But that is the end of my review. As always, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Whoever's watching the video, leave a comment below just saying, you know, your opinions on this episode, your opinions on the show so far. Do you think it was a little bit too early to reveal Carol as the killer? What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is feeding the walkers? That's what I really want to know. Like, who do you guys think are feeding the walkers? Anyways, guys, that is it for this video. We got the Tomorrow People coming on tonight. I will be tuning into that, and I will post a review on it. Dracula's coming on Friday. I'm excited to see where that's going. And finally, after 3 weeks, Sleepy Hollow is back. I'm excited for it. Can't wait for that new episode. And I can't wait to put out the review. I'm excited for it. And as always, Walking Dead on Sunday. I'll be sure and have reviews of these shows out as soon as I can, as quickly as I can, as soon as I find time. So, without any further ado, I'm Joker777, and I'll see you guys later.